Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your favorite therapist, Novia McLaren, licensed marriage and family therapist in Connecticut. And I'm excited to come to you guys with a new video. This topic, we're going to be discussing self-sabotage and procrastination, and what is self-sabotage and what causes it, and some tips to overcome it. I've been working with a few clients that struggles in this area, and to be honest, we all sometimes struggle with self-sabotage and procrastination. So let's kind of jump into why we self-sabotage, right? Self-sabotage is a way of avoiding disappointment. Sometimes it's a help to avoid fear. Almost anything that we do worth doing, it propels overcoming some type of fear. So stepping outside of our comfort zones, for example. Some of us were never taught the value of what it means to face our fears. Depending on early childhood experiences, we weren't celebrated in our efforts. So fear of putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations can sometimes be crippling for some people and causes them to stay in a state of stagnation. It helps people to avoid risks, taking risks in life. Self-development and relationships require things like vulnerability and visibility. Some people don't want to be seen, especially nowadays in a day of technology, social media. A lot of people, fear, putting themselves out there, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Self-sabotage helps you to avoid the risk of rejection, fear of people criticizing you. So a risk that's all too real because you experienced it as a child growing up in a system that negated your inner reality. So I'm a trauma trained therapist, and a lot of self-sabotage, anxiety, a lot of mental health disorders do stem from inner child trauma, PTSD, trauma-related experiences. And a way to start working with self-sabotaging tendencies is to identify the inner child inside that is fearful and trying to avoid risk, and working with those parts. So I'm going to get into that a little later on. But first, we're going to talk about what's the purpose that it's serving, right? To help externalize that part of you better and understand that part of you better. So, so the reason some self-sabotaging tendencies are so hard to change, a lot of times it's subconscious. People aren't really aware of it or where it's coming from. They just think that's just who they are. They feel like they are depressed. Maybe they're anxious. Those are all factors, but it's a deeper rooted seed that is born out of trauma that would have to get to and identify and reprocess. Most people who self-sabotage tend to be perfectionists. They think they want things to be perfect before they can do anything, and that's not how it works. There is a process to getting to, not even perfection. I tell people to get rid of that word, but there's a process to getting to overcoming your fears, per se, and feeling more confident in your abilities by stepping out and doing the baby steps and trusting the process. Some people don't. They want to jump over that and get to the end result, but you have to go through that to get to the end result. So it's a really tricky thing. So perfectionism, procrastination, and expecting the worst, being just catastrophically thinking the worst versus thinking of the outcome that you desire. Some people feel imposter syndrome. They feel like they are not worthy, they're not deserving to be in certain situations or certain positions in life, making excuses. So those are some things that people who struggle with self-sabotage kind of have to work on. Those philosophies of perfectionism, expecting the worst, and imposter syndromes. So separate yourself from your inner sabotage person, inner child. aka, and view that part of you. That part of you has good intentions. So those parts of you are trying to protect yourself. They want you to be fearful to not experience rejection or the catastrophic thoughts that they may have. That part of you is serving as a way to try to protect you. But let's give that part some empathy and some compassion. Speak to that part like the inner child that it is. How would you speak to a child in those moments, right? You would want to provide reassurance. You'd want to, provide nurture and care. Even giving yourself a hug and calming down that part of your nervous system, to know that that is just the younger, traumatized parts of yourself, whatever happened in your childhood to have caused you to have these thoughts, these feelings, of doubt and low confidence. Um, you want to be a cheerleader and a motivational speaker for that part of you, and think of a loving parent, comforting their child in those moments. So that's some techniques that I teach with my clients. You want to externalize it, give it an age. How old is that part of you? When did that part of you start to come about more? When did that voice start to speak a little louder? And usually it's in early childhood experiences. Um, so let's talk about some ways to help stopping self-sabotage. Um, some things you can do, and also procrastination, is to work on taking baby steps and thinking about avoiding distractions and really taking time to focus on your goals each day, and taking, one step at a time measures to start overcoming smaller obstacles versus thinking about the larger end results. Um, so, for example, people who are trying to lose weight, right? You're not gonna start, running a marathon in a week, but for the week, you're gonna go for a 20-minute walk outside, and that's all you're gonna focus on, right? So any task or any hobbies or interests or things that you need to do, we're going to work on just starting small and being your own motivational inspiration, talking to your inner child in a more loving, kind way, and knowing that the fearful parts of you and the parts of you that are thinking the worst case scenario are just the scared, traumatized parts of you, and those parts need a little bit more extra attention to, soften them and have them feel secure and safe, and to know that it's okay to be fearful, but that's not going to serve you in the long run. And you have to step out and push yourself a little by little to build your confidence and to have a new experience, for the brain to now code these new experiences versus reliving in trauma time and reliving in the past things that may have happened to you that were not your fault, that were out of your control. So working with, a licensed mental health professional can also help you, in addition to some of these tips, recognizing that these are inner child voices that needs to be heard and validated by a professional, and helping your brain to now relearn the real new experiences and the adult experiences that you deserve and that you desire and that you're able to achieve, with now having different lens and a different mindset about taking risk and following your dreams and pushing yourself to your goals, whatever goals they may be. All right, so hopefully this video was a little helpful for someone today. Like, comment, and keep me posted on any other topics that you guys may be interested in. All right, love and light.